Tagliafico own goal was enough to see Liverpool beat Ajax by 1-0 in Holland. Craig Burley joins us to look back at this game. Craig, Liverpool lucky?
Well, I think Liverpool will just take anything at the moment, Dan, particularly a clean sheet. So because they're really struggling to get those. They're not playing well. We know that. I mean, when they took the front three off to make the changes for the rotation, everybody was like, "Well, they'd only had one effort at goal." I mean, it wasn't. I mean, Sadio Mane was the biggest threat. They weren't exactly tearing that Ajax defence apart. So I don't know what Stevie thinks, but I just haven't. I know they've got injuries. I know they've got personnel out, particularly the centre half Van Dijk. But even when he was in the side, they're just so open at the moment, and teams are carving them apart. I mean, had they been more clinical, Ajax, then yeah. And on top of that, the keeper, if I'm the only one that's getting the heebie-jeebies when he comes out for a cross or when there's a strike at goal, I would be surprised.
Stevie?
I don't think they were lucky. Yes, there was a touch of fortune about the goal. And no surprise, I was concentrating mainly on the centre-backs. That's where my focus was, and I think they came out on top. I think Fabinhos looks as though he's played there forever, and he's a real calming influence. You know, I can remember Adrian making a save in the second half when he parried one when he dived to his left. But other than that, defensively, they got bodies in the way when they had to, and they closed people down as well. Yes, they weren't particularly brilliant going forward, but listen, even in that 18-month spell where Liverpool seemed unstoppable, when they got to the final and then the following year winning it, they had some sticky games away from home where they struggled. So, listen, for me today was about a clean sheet, because usually Liverpool will score, and they got a clean sheet.
And they got a lucky own goal.
But they still scored.
But they got a lucky own goal, Stevie, yeah? Hence, I asked you if they were lucky.
Well, also the goalkeeper made an incredible save from Salah. But as I said, you take it when it comes, Dan. They got a clean sheet.
But you accept it, yeah? You say they were a bit lucky. They're a bit lucky today.
They weren't lucky. How are you lucky?
Because they're
not lucky if you keep a clean sheet.
Because they win because of an
incredible
own goal that was going out for a throw-in. It's okay to say they were lucky.
Well, the other goalkeeper made oh, shit. Away you go. Oh, they're lucky. I'll tell you what, any team in Europe going away from home will take a clean sheet. So there's nothing lucky about that. There's a touch of fortune about the goal.
Good, there
Salah
you go.
had a chance.
What's the difference between
if you want to start talking, if you want to start talking about a team being more, you're talking about Ajax being more clinical. Liverpool were up the other end quite as much. They weren't particularly clinical as well as Ajax. So they're not lucky.
No, not lucky, but they had a touch of fortune.
You go away from home and keep a clean sheet.
Touch of fortune, not lucky.
With the goal, yes, correct.
Right.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Oh, yeah?
Not that you would know, clearly.
Okay, all right.
Clearly you don't know that.
I don't know if you picked up on it, Dan. I know I've been off.
Fabinhos at the back, Craig.
Was that the new signing?
Yes, yeah, you missed that.
Yeah, I've been off work a few weeks, so clearly they've gone out and they've got Fabinhos in to play centre-back as well, but whoever the hell he is. But listen, Liverpool are not playing anything like
Sorry, Fabinho, beg your pardon.
I was going to pick up on it at the time, but you were waffling on, so Fabinho.
No, that was Thomas. He was getting on my nerves.
It's a bit worrying when Fabinho is looking like your best centre-back without Van Dijk in the team, and that shows you his worth to this squad. And when you take him out the centre of the park, that's a big problem as well, even when Thiago's fit again, because he does a lot of work in there. I suppose maybe Jordan Henderson come in and can fill some of that void with his work rate. Football Writers Player of the Year last year. He's been in fits and starts. But look, there's no doubt about it. The league champions, when you start the season the way they have, rugged against Leeds, hammered by Aston Villa, dominated the game, but it was a draw in the Merseyside derby. Struggled again a little bit in this game. They were so open. They're not themselves at the moment. And for Liverpool, it's a matter of getting themselves through this period. There's no clarification yet, just unless I missed it, how long Dan Van Dijk is going to be out, and people are going to ask the questions. And when Alisson's out as well, can this Liverpool side cope? Because teams are going to start having more of a go at them, even at Anfield, domestically. When they see the team sheet and there's no goalkeeper and no Virgil van Dijk, they're going to smell a chance. So we're going to find out if they can cope. The squad looked a bit threadbare as well, so clearly they're creaking a little bit at the seams at the moment. But they got a result. In terms of this competition, that's all you can do on the road.
I tell you what they need to do, Dan. They need to make sure they don't use losing Van Dijk as a crutch. You know, if the players go around and the staff are always going, well, if we had Van Dijk or if we had Alisson, you can't be like that. If you do that, then you're going to sink.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, Stevie.
Whenever you lose a player, regardless of who it is, you have to get rid of it, forget it, and move on. Because if you don't, then you will be in trouble.
It was quite the opposite, Stephen, from what we saw in the press conference before this game. Klopp very dour about the whole situation. Wijnaldum saying we're still all devastated. It was kind of reminiscent to when Neymar got injured in the World Cup before Brazil got thrashed by Germany. But you look at it, Stevie, and it's almost an excuse on a plate, isn't it?
Aye. No, you can't do that. You know, after the game, when he gets injured, and then you find out, then okay, you say, all right, we're going to miss him. But then you move on. You don't start. Crying's probably not the right word, but you don't start bringing these things up when you're preparing for a game. You know, unfortunately, Van Dijk is not available. And as much as you don't like it, you got to forget about him. Put him to the side. And that's the professional way and the only way to do it. Because if you don't, then exactly what you brought up about Neymar is going to happen. Everybody's going to be looking for a crutch and an excuse. And tell you, football players will look for a crutch and an excuse. I've seen it too many times. So they better move on quickly or else they will be sinking.
Don't start going about with all these T-shirts to feel sorry for Virgil van Dijk when next time we see them on the field. We've seen that kind of nonsense with the modern-day player. Sure, it's not going to happen at Liverpool, but Stevie's right. We've played in team. We've played with players who... And let's not... Feel sorry from's the wrong thing. We've played with players that have had challenges that's ended their career, right? There's been many of them. You know, Paul Elliott played at Anfield and there was the challenge with Dean Saunders. Went to court. He never played again. His knee was hanging. That's the kind of people you feel sorry for when your career's cut short. It's happened to many a player. We hope Van Dijk, like all the players that get injured, is going to be fine. Well, just go backtracking that because it wasn't on at the weekend. How the hell did they miss that? I mean, that tackle on that challenge was a disgrace. And I heard a conversation on another channel back in the UK. I'm not going to mention names about, well, you know, should the best referees be back at Stockley Park now when they're making these decisions? What the hell referee sitting in VAR in the booth in Stockley Park looked at that challenge and didn't think to alert Michael Oliver that it was a red card? I mean, this is just incredible. I know I've gone off on a different tune here, but that challenge on him in the first place was a shambles from Jordan Pickford. However, you can't do anything about it now. Liverpool just have to pick themselves up. We know they're more vulnerable than they've been in the last, 24 months or so. You can see that in them, and they're going to have to get through this period.
Craig, as you're on it, and it's the first time we've had the proper opportunity to talk about it, we discussed a lot about the punishment that maybe Jordan Pickford should face. What do you think, retrospectively, if it was possible?
No, I don't think so, because I think that's a dangerous road to go down with challenges. It had to be dealt with at the time. If there's an elbow in somebody's nose or somebody's jaw off the ball, that's violent conduct. I mean, that would go down as excessive force. And it was just a horrible, high, mistimed challenge. But I think if we go back and retrospectively referee all of those things, I think that's a dangerous game. What's more worrying, Dan, is that some clown, and I've used that word a lot over the last 18 months with referees, and I think referees have got a tough job. But I am absolutely amazed at some of the challenges that have gone to Stockley Park and nothing's been done about it. And it's just worrying that people, professional people in important positions, are looking at a knee-high, leg-breaking, career-ending challenge and say, nothing to see here, game on. However, that being said, I would not be looking to re-referee personally that situation. That should have been dealt with on Saturday.
Where does this put Liverpool's title defence, Craig?
Well, clearly, if you've got a missing goalkeeper and the best centre-half in world football out of your team for, it could be months, then it's going to be a huge problem. But we've already seen City, who I had down as league winners, and I'm not changing. They're fallible, and they've not started great, and neither have the chasing pack. So actually, as I said earlier, if they can get themselves through this period, then they might not be in a bad position, because I've really been surprised the way some of the others have started, and I think that's taken a little bit of pressure off Liverpool. But listen, if they can win the league with missing a couple of their most important players for potentially 6 months of the season, I'll tip my cap to them, because that'll be a hell of an achievement.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.